dancing, and flirting. Yeah, lots of people borrowed money, and everybody looks all rich, and they're just wasting a lot of money and they're just playing around. This is after the World War One, and America became very famous for because of the power that America has shown in World War One, and America became an extremely wealthy country after selling all those weapons and stuff. And when the country became very wealthy, lots of people lent money to other people, and lots of people just borrowed and used money just like as if it was just a normal life routine. And F. Scott Fitzgerald wrote the book The Great Gatsby to show this kind of society in 1920s America. And I'll just tell you a little bit about the storyline. And just like I said before, the book is set in 1922, summer, and the narrator, the guy who speaks in the story, is called Nick Carraway. And he came from the West, and then he came up to Long Island. He moved to Long Island to work at New York City to be in the bond business, so just earning money. And he lives in a place called West Egg. West Egg, there are two cliffs in the Long Island. There's West Egg and East Egg. And West Egg is just like a normal middle class people, and some rich people live in there. And East Egg is like the fashionable and like the rich people, the wealthy people, and those fashionable and just like bling people live in the East Egg. And Nick got a house just beside this man called Gatsby, who people don't know about him that well. And we can just seeing his house, we can see that he is really rich. He lives in a gigantic mansion that can be also described as a palace, and we know he owns lots of servants, lots of cars, Rolls Royce, these fancy suits, and they have parties nearly every day, every night. And Gatsby tries to find his friend, Tom Buchanan, and he sees him in East Egg, and Daisy, who is the wife of Tom, Daisy is also a friend of Gatsby. Or you can, well, Daisy is Gatsby's cousin, but they don't really, talk with each other and stuff. Daisy and Tom was just like, was like moving around, like going there and here and there and here, going to France, and they spent a year in France without any particular reason, and then they moved to East Egg. And Nick goes to see Tom and Daisy at their house, and he meets another person called Jordan Baker. She's a girl. Jordan is a boy name, but still. Okay, she's a golfer, and she later in the story goes out with Nick. And after the meeting, Nick comes back home and sees Gatsby in the yard, looking at Daisy's house. The Daisy's house at night always has a green light by the shore, and Gatsby always looks at it at night. He comes out to his yard and just looks. And Daisy, and then also Gatsby later meets with Nick, and Gatsby also tells Nick about his his fake lifestyle, and Gatsby's making up these stories that he went to Oxford, and he had a lot of money from the start. He inherited a lot of money from his parents and from his ancestors, and then he went to Oxford. He went to these all kinds of royal and high class stuff, and he acts as if he was like very high class and stuff, but the actual background of him is he was a son of a really poor farmer, and his name isn't Jay Gatsby. His first name is Jay, and his actual name is James Gatz. And when he was about our age, like 13, 14, he made his own objectives book, about him changing his name, like that he's going to change his name and change his, like, how should I say, normal habits and look more of a high class and not like a lower class or like a working class or like a middle class. So he planned this whole thing about like earning money and becoming very rich and acting as a high class since when he was young. And well, he just moved out from his parents' house and he just lived by himself, earned his money by himself. And later, Gatsby and Jordan and Nick becomes more closer to each other while Gatsby and Jordan goes to one of Gatsby's parties. And Gatsby tells Baker that Gatsby wants to meet Daisy. And the background story about this is a few years ago during World War One, Gatsby was a first lieutenant and it was a quite high rank at the time. And Gatsby becomes captain, and when he was in army uniform, you can't see if he's rich or poor or something. And that time, Gatsby meets Daisy when they were both young. And then Daisy falls in love with Gatsby, and Gatsby also loves Daisy as well. And they love each other, and after the war, Gatsby said, "Wait for me, I'm still quite poor." So Daisy was waiting until Gatsby becomes rich. But a few years later, Daisy just marries this guy called Tom Buchanan, and Tom is of course rich. And Gatsby gets very upset about it, and Gatsby from then starts to try to earn a lot of money. And we don't know if it's true or not, but it doesn't say in the book, but Tom, later in the book, says that Gatsby earned his money by bootlegging. Bootlegging is just like making liquor, like making beer and all that stuff. And at the time in America, they had prohibition, which was like, at the time, like the president and by the law, you're not allowed to drink beer and liquor. So what they would usually do was, like in the bathtub, they'll just try to make beer and all those liquor like in the bathtub. And when like a police or somebody like checks, like they might just like go in the bathtub and go like, "Oh, I'm just having a bath. Why are you coming in?" and stuff. And so he was in like his illegal bootlegging and those stuff. And he also did fake bond business, which Gatsby made these fake, how should I say, these papers saying that, "Oh, I own this company, this company, this company," and selling it to people who don't know really about it. And so people are just buying fake bonds and fake company ownership from Gatsby. So he earned all his money like that, and Gatsby now wants to see Daisy and say that, "Now look here, I got a lot of money, so why don't you come to me," and just ditch Tom. So Gatsby finds out that Jordan Baker and Nick is very close to Daisy, and Gatsby tells Baker his plans, and Baker later tells Nick about it, and they later do the plan. So what the plan was is that Nick invites Daisy to his house, Nick's house, and Gatsby also comes to Nick's house as well. And what they did was, after having some tea and stuff, because Gatsby's house is just beside Nick's house, Gatsby will just say like, "Hey Nick, let's just go over to my house for some tea more, and we could just have a little bit more talk and stuff." And then Gatsby will like tell Daisy, "Look here, I got this big mansion, I got this really wide field, look at those cars, look at those fancy clothes." And so that actually works, and Daisy goes to Gatsby's house and gets a tour around Gatsby's house, Gatsby's big house, looking at his old Daisy's pictures, saying that, "Oh, I loved you since I met you, blah blah blah," and like all these chandeliers and all these wine and all these clothes. And there's a scene in the book, and if you see some great Gatsby movies, there's a scene in the books which Daisy cries holding Gatsby's shirts, and Gatsby is keep on throwing all these shirts and blouses and all these skirts, and like Gatsby's just laughing and throwing all those dresses, and like Daisy's just like grabbing all of them and crying, and then Daisy's saying these stuff like, oh, I'm so sad that I've never worn these beautiful clothes before. And this also shows that how the people at the time were not really, how should I say, thoughtful, I could say, and they were just only thinking about money and wealth. And now Daisy knows Gatsby is really rich. Daisy and Gatsby are trying to have planned to say that to Tom that. So Daisy's going to say to Tom that I didn't like you from the start, and then they're planning to ditch Tom and just live by themselves, or like go away somewhere and just live happily ever after. So what they did was, after all those meetings and stuff, a few days later, so Nick, Tom, Jordan, Gatsby and Daisy, they all meet at Tom's house, so Daisy's house. Then they have this awkward feeling, and Tom recognizes and like finds out that Gatsby has some interest in Daisy, and Daisy has changed a little bit. So Daisy was like caring more about Gatsby, and like Gatsby was always talking about Daisy and stuff. So Tom later finds out, and then Gatsby also says stuff like, "Oh, I'll go with Daisy on the car by only us two to the city, so we could just go around the city for a visit or like a trip or a tour or something." And then, so Tom shows his anger and stuff to Baker, Jordan, and Nick in the car when they're together. And there's this place described as Valley of the Ashes in the book. Valley of the Ashes is like, it's just a place that is like filthy, and there's like railways, and there's just like working class people live there. It's like filthy, just like dirty gas stations, dirty apartments, flats, houses. All the people are just like dirty, and like they're all poor and stuff. And this part of the place also shows the truth of this America. So that's saying like all the people, if they just look at America, it's like, oh, America, lots of rich people, oh, lots of dresses, oh, lots of top hats and money and gold and cars, and oh, good country. But the actual truth is, the working class people, when they immigrated to America, they all had to work like this, and all the working classes people, all those money goes to the rich people that own those apartments and own those like companies where the lots of working class people just work in. So it just shows the truth that poor people cannot be rich in that society. And it also shows one thing, that it's called an American dream. American dream is that if you persevere and if you try everything that you can to achieve your goal or your dream, that you can actually do it. For example, if you want to be rich and become a high class and like have lots of wives or something like that, you can do that if you just try hard. And this part of the book, and there's lots of parts of the book saying that American dream is a lie, but this part is the one part that shows that American dream is somewhat a lie, that it's not true. And later, when they go to the city, they go to this place called the Plaza Hotel, and then it's a really hot day, and everybody is just like all like stressed and like all just kind of angry. You know, like when it's a really hot day, they're like sweating all over. You're just like like that. And Daisy confronts Tom, saying that like, oh, I didn't like you, and like blah blah blah. And then Tom and Gatsby get into a fight, and then Tom says like the truth about Gatsby. Well, he doesn't know the truth, but he's just saying that, oh, I've done these researches saying that Gatsby, you're a bootlegger, and you've just done all these like drug businesses, and like you're just like a criminal and stuff. And then Daisy later knows about it, but Gatsby just keeps on saying, Daisy say that you never loved Tom, but Daisy says that she can't lie, she did love Tom once and blah blah blah, and then Daisy just chooses